Heavenly message revealed, 3 divine miracles are about to manifest in your life today. The church was buzzing, the air thick with a mix of hope and despair, as if heaven itself had sent a secret message. Sarah stood at the altar, surrounded by flickering candles that cast warm shadows across familiar faces. Her heart raced as they gathered in prayer. Today was unlike any other, it held the power of the extraordinary. The words whispered among the congregation felt electric, each utterance a spark igniting a fire of belief. Then came a voice, calm yet forceful, cutting through the dim light. A retired pastor, dearly loved by all, stood at the doorway, his presence resonating with a palpable energy. 3 miracles are upon us, he proclaimed. A wave of fervent whispers followed. Sarah's heart thundered as she processed this revelation. Could it be true? The atmosphere crackled with divine potential. As they prayed, Sarah's thoughts were consumed by her son, who fought a battle against an illness that seemed uncrossable. The weight of her husband's job loss loomed heavy over their home, each breath a reminder of the challenges they faced. But as the prayers climbed higher, she felt a shift in the air, like the building anticipation before a storm. Suddenly, her son, who had been in the back with his father, erupted into joyful laughter. "Mummy! I feel better." Those words struck like a celestial lightning bolt through the crowd. Gasps rippled as parents clutched their children. A neighbor began to weep, overwhelmed by the raw hope that filled the church. As Sarah caught her son's eye, they shared a moment, her heart swelled, tears brimming with disbelief and joy. Was this the beginning of a divine intervention? Before she could let joyous thoughts take root, her husband stepped into the light, clutching a letter with trembling hands. "Sarah, it's a job offer," he shouted, a beacon piercing their financial storm. Cheers erupted, but for Sarah, an anxiety stirred like a heavy shadow. Could they trust this blessing when it felt so precarious? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the evening wore on, whispers of another miracle surfaced. A neighbor who battled addiction found strength in unexpected clarity, the glow of hope lighting up their hollowed eyes. This evening wasn't just about Sarah, it was about revival. Yet, amidst these miracles, doubt lingered, creeping in whispers of uncertainty. Could these moments be more than fleeting flashes of grace? The pastor stepped forward once more, his steady voice cutting through the tension. Faith is not the absence of doubt, but the courage to trust in the unseen. His words ignited something deep within Sarah. Yet, questions swirled like autumn leaves in a tempest. What was God revealing? Were they caught in a grand tapestry where each thread mattered? With the flickering candles surrounding them, the air sweet with incense, Sarah steeled herself, ready to ride this wave of faith. The congregation leaned in, breaths held, as she prepared for the unexpected twist that was about to send ripples through their serene night. What miracle awaited them as they dug into this newfound faith? Would their hope endure, or was this just a test of their spirit? As Sarah's spirit soared with newfound hope, the atmosphere inside the church thickened with a divine anticipation. The congregation's eyes glimmered with expectation, and as the flickering candles cast gentle shadows, a collective heartbeat echoed through the air. They were poised for a revelation, a moment that could shift their perspective on life, heartache, and the power of faith. Let us pray once more. The retired pastor urged, raising his hands as if reaching for heaven itself. The crowd bowed their heads in reverence, the stillness broken only by the soft murmur of individual prayers mingling in a sacred symphony. Sarah squeezed her hands together, feeling the warmth of others' faith intertwining with her own. Lord, we are here, open and willing, she thought as her heart pounded against her chest. Help us see the miracles unfolding before our eyes. Just then, the church doors swung open, and a gust of fresh air swept through, stirring the incense and lifting the heaviness that lingered. A young woman stepped inside, drenched in tears yet emanating a glow that couldn't be ignored. "I came for hope, and what I found is peace," she cried as she rushed to the front, her voice shattering the hushed silence. "I was lost in my addiction, but I felt his presence tonight. I'm free." Gasps echoed through the crowd, followed by an eruption of applause and shouts of praise. Sarah's heart was flooded with warmth. Here was yet another miracle, one that spoke to the very core of their struggles. The weight of her worries began to lift, what had long felt impossible was slowly transforming into the incredible. Yet, as she turned to her husband, a question glimmered in his eyes: was this faith real, or just a fleeting moment affected by emotion? Recognizing his doubt, Sarah tightened her grip on his hand and whispered, "This is bigger than us. Look at the love and light around us. If we truly believe, we can receive." Drawn by their unyielding hope, others within the church began to share stories of their burdens, their struggles, fears, and the longing for divine breakthrough. A father spoke of a job situation that felt hopeless, a widow murmured about grief that suffocated her spirit. Each shared struggle became a prayer lifted high, a collective voice reaching for divine grace. The pastor, sensing the powerful shift among them, raised his arms again. "Let your burdens become whispers. Let your doubts wash away in his light. Believe in the power we share." Sarah felt emboldened. She knew they were all connected, each thread woven with purpose. This was not merely an event, it was the unfolding of a divine tapestry, where every miracle mattered and every prayer resonated with the heavenly realm. Suddenly, the air thickened, and a peaceful hush settled over the congregation. The pastor's voice softened, "As we gather here, let us not forget to listen to what God is telling us in our hearts. Miracles are underway, but we must remain vigilant in our faith. What might He be revealing right now?" As Sarah looked around, she could see hope kindling in every eye. Yet, within her heart, a flicker of uncertainty quietly lingered. What lay ahead? What lessons wrapped in gracious miracles were yet to be unveiled? The question hummed in the silence, intertwining with the anticipation echoing through the room. What was God preparing to reveal next? And how would their faith guide them through this divine journey? As the night deepened, the whispers of the miraculous continued to envelop them, beckoning them to dive deeper into their faith journey. A stillness enveloped the church. Candles flickered, each flame reflecting the earnest prayers and heartfelt hope of the congregation. Sarah felt her heart race as she leaned into this sacred moment. Her mind raced with thoughts of what miracles might be waiting just around the corner. The pastor's voice broke the silence, "God is with us tonight. Can you feel His presence?" His words were like a warm blanket, wrapping around the gathered souls. Let us open our hearts wide as we invite His magnificent love to flow through us. With every word, Sarah's spirit stirred. She glimpsed the young woman standing in front, still radiating that newfound light. It was as if a portal of divine possibilities had opened, revealing glimpses of hope. How many lives were waiting for such a transformation? How many hungry hearts craved this same fire? Everyone here has a story, Sarah thought, glancing around. Each face held a unique burden, a silent prayer for healing, renewal, or direction. There was a middle-aged man with weary eyes, his hands clasped tight, whispering to God. A young couple leaned into each other, their worried expressions contrasting with the warmth of the crowd's faith. The pastor continued, "Sometimes, miracles are not the loudest stories, they're in the quiet whispers of our hearts." He paused, letting his words sink deep. Let us take a moment to reflect on what we've waited for, what we hope for, and trust that God is hearing us. Time slowed. Sarah closed her eyes, taking a breath filled with sacred possibility. She surrendered every worry, every doubt, and every ache of her heart. In that moment of vulnerability, she felt a profound peace. God was moving. Could it be that her very longing was the beginning of something extraordinary? A soft rustling caught her attention. She opened her eyes just in time to see an elderly woman rise from her seat, leaning heavily on her cane. The crowd was silent as she shuffled forward, her movements slow but resolute. Each step seemed to carry the weight of her years, yet her spirit shone with unwavering resolve. "Dear ones," she croaked, her voice trembling but strong. "I have seen many seasons in my life. I have cried and I have laughed. Through loss and joy, I've learned the truth of His goodness." As she spoke, a wave of reverence washed over the congregation. Her words floated through the air like a prayer sent skyward, resonating within every soul present. "Don't you see? The Lord is stirring among us," she continued. "What He has for you may be beyond your understanding, but tonight, lift your anticipation higher." The energy in the room shifted. It became electric with faith, and with it, a realization settled deep in Sarah's heart. Each person in that room held a piece of the divine puzzle. It was not only about their individual journeys, they were collectively part of a miraculous unfolding. The elderly woman's gaze met Sarah's. "You, my dear, are a vessel of blessing," she proclaimed. "The Lord is asking you to trust in the revelation to come, even when it feels hidden." Sarah felt her breath catch. Was God calling her to ownership of her faith journey? To step forward into the divine anticipation of change? As the elderly woman returned to her seat, a wave of heat surged through Sarah. There, in that sacred moment, she recognized that miracles often emerge from the unexpected. Her heart swelled with new purpose. "What are we waiting for?" the pastor urged, sensing the shift. "Embrace this moment. Share your hope. Speak it into existence." Around her, whispers of affirmation filled the air. Sarah squeezed her husband's hand tighter. This was the moment to embrace the unknown together. However, deep within her soul, a question lingered like a gentle breeze. What would be revealed as they stepped boldly forward in faith? What paths would open before them in this divine adventure? With each shared story, each heartfelt prayer, the congregation leaned into the mystery of the night, waiting for the clarion call of miracles. The air hummed softly, a palpable excitement weaving its way through the congregation. Sarah's heart beat in rhythm with the electric atmosphere, igniting a sense of urgency within her. What awaited them all with open arms was shrouded in divine mystery, and yet she felt a sensation, deep in her spirit, that something incredible was near. "Let us not hold back," the pastor implored, his voice a beacon of encouragement. "Open your mouths, open your hearts. Let the praises rise." As he raised his hands, a powerful wave of worship echoed back from every corner of the church. Voices harmonized, crafting melodies that soared to the heavens. Each note felt like an offering, a plea for connection, a step closer to a profound truth waiting to be uncovered. With each chord, Sarah closed her eyes again. The moment of spiritual connection bathed her in light. She could feel barriers melting away, each layer of doubt and fear dissolving under the warmth of collective faith. It was then that the young woman whose light had captivated Sarah earlier began to sing louder. Her voice soared above the chorus, resonating with strength. "He is a way maker. A miracle worker." She called out, and her words pierced rapidly into the hearts of those present. "Indeed." Another voice agreed, someone near the back. "He is a promise keeper." The congregation harnessed this energy, their fervor building. The atmosphere thickened with faith. Sarah found herself transported beyond the walls of the church, envisioning highways of hope unfurling before her, landscapes steeped in promise. "Look," the elderly woman's echo resounded in her mind, carving deeper than ever before. "What He has for you may be beyond your understanding." It was as if the woman was not just reflecting wisdom from within, but echoing a divine plan unfolding in real time. Courage flared as she opened her mouth to speak. "I believe in miracles," Sarah declared, her voice trembling with newfound confidence. The congregation turned to her, eyes wide with surprise and awe. "I believe that we are here to witness the impossible." A wave of affirmation rushed back at her. "Yes." Another shouted, and soon the cries filled the air like smoke rising, an offering of faith lifting higher. In that moment of surrender, Sarah felt unseen weights fall from her shoulders. The vulnerability felt freeing. Together, they were declaring intentions, a chorus of souls weaving hope. The pastor fled into the crowd, hands extended and eyes sparkling, urging people to share their own testimonies of breakthrough, healing, and renewal. As each story echoed through the sanctuary, heartfelt emotions bubbled to the surface. A woman spoke of her struggle with loneliness transformed into a divine family. A young man shared how despair turned to joy through an unexpected job offer. Another voice recounted the story of a family brought back together against all odds, their hearts healed and united in love. Sarah's heart raced anew. In this swirl of testimonies, she felt her own needs, longings ignite brighter than before. She wanted to speak, she wanted to be part of this miraculous transformation. But in the back of her mind, another question lingered. Was it only stories of others, or could her heart's secret be the next one to share? Could she step out, reveal her burdens and trust in this unfolding tapestry? A gentle whisper urged her forward. Speak your truth, Sarah. Let them see you. As her courage surged to the forefront, the world fell silent around her, each breath taut with expectation. What miracle awaited the moment she opened her mouth? Would her spoken faith summon the divine shift she longed for? With a heart full of hope and trembling anticipation, Sarah prepared to take a step she had never taken before, standing on the edge of faith. What revelation would manifest next? The tension in the air seemed to thrum with divine energy, waiting breathlessly for her response. The sanctuary was alive with expectancy. Sarah could hear her heart pounding in her ears, each beat a reminder of the moment she was about to embrace. The weight of collective hope wrapped around her like a warm embrace, yet within her, a deep uncertainty flickered. As she gathered her breath, Sarah felt the eyes of the congregation upon her, each gaze a silent encouragement, pushing her toward the edge of her fears. You can do this, she whispered to herself. The words hung in the air as she opened her mouth, letting her truth spill into the atmosphere. She began, her voice cracking slightly. I have carried burdens of doubt for too long. The words tumbled out, raw and unfiltered, and the congregation leaned closer, their silence a sacred invitation. I have doubted my purpose. I have questioned my worth. But if it's true that He is a miracle worker, then I want to believe in that possibility for my own life. As she spoke, the air shifted. A renewed energy coursed through the room, vibrating with life. Could they sense her vulnerability? Did they feel the bravery it took to voice her innermost struggles? Sarah's heart began to soar, buoyed by a chorus of hushed amens and nods of encouragement. The young woman who had first captivated Sarah began to step closer, her face illuminated by faith. We are with you, Sarah. Let His love pour into you. You are not alone. With each affirmation, the walls of doubt around Sarah crumbled further. She felt the burdens that had held her back begin to fade. It was as if the very foundations of her life were being reshaped by the raw power of shared faith. She looked up, brushing away tears that threatened to spill over. This was the beauty of community together, they could anchor one another. The pastor, a living embodiment of joy, lifted his hands high. Miracles are not just for others. They are for each one of us. Who will take hold of this moment? Who will step into the light of what God has promised? As he spoke, Sarah felt an electric current surge. A deep realization dawned within her: this wasn't only about her, but about every soul present. Each life, each story was a thread woven into a larger tapestry of grace and mercy. I choose to believe. Sarah shouted, her spirit erupting in joyous affirmation. I believe that something profound is happening here. The congregation erupted in response, a fervent roar like thunder, echoing off the walls. People rose to their feet, their voices swelling like a tidal wave of praise. Yes. Yes. They cried, a unified chorus of faith. In that moment, Sarah felt an anchor settle in her heart. A promise, one that whispered of transformation awaiting on the horizon, just beyond her fears. Hope blossomed within her, radiant and powerful. As the worship continued, each note carried the weight of their collective prayers, dancing in the air, swirling with fervent intention. Sarah glanced around and saw faces aglow. She recognized her own journey mirrored in them. The elderly woman, the young man, the single mother, each of them held a part of the same story written by divine hands, but even amidst this beautiful outpouring, a new question arose within Sarah. What awaited her on the other side of this breakthrough? One thing felt clear: a divine encounter was imminent. She could feel it stirring. What did God have planned for her as she stepped into this newfound conviction? The whispers of heaven beckoned her closer, igniting a spark of holy anticipation. The pastor raised his voice above the beautiful chaos. Are you ready to witness the impossible? With hearts aligned and eyes fixed on the miraculous, an exhilarating journey lay ahead. What was about to break forth in sacred essence? The air thickened with promise, offering an unfolding page yet to be written. The atmosphere pulsed with a rhythm of anticipation. As Sarah absorbed the collective faith around her, something deep within began to awaken. She felt as though an unseen hand was gently cradling her spirit, guiding her through a doorway she had long hesitated to approach. Bright beams of light illuminated the sanctuary as worshippers raised their hands in pure reverence, transforming the space into an altar of hope. The unity was tangible, a divine thread weaving through each heart. Sarah closed her eyes, letting the fervent energy wash over her. It felt as if heaven itself was peering down, waiting with bated breath for their next move. Open your hearts. The pastor called, his voice a clarion call that rang out like a bell of salvation. The miraculous is here. Embrace it. Claim it. His words were like rockets, filling the souls present with anticipation. Sarah's heart thundered. What if she truly believed? What if she grasped the promise that God had for her? She let those thoughts swirl like a whirlwind around her mind, and amidst the storm of emotions, clarity arose. She could sense that her breakthrough was not only a personal gift but a shared bond with everyone in the room. Father, we are here. She murmured, feeling a rush of sincerity. I want to see your goodness in my life. I surrender this doubt to you. The moment she uttered those words, a profound stillness filled her heart. Could that be what surrender felt like? A deep, sweet peace enveloped her like a warm blanket on a chilly evening. Around her, shadows of past regrets began to lift as songs of joy soared. Families, mothers holding children, teenagers lost in worship, all were transformed under the same glorious light. Laughter and tears mingled like a sacred offering, carving pathways of grace through the air. A hush suddenly swept through the congregation as the pastor continued. God has a word for us today. His voice carried a weight that resonated within Sarah's soul like a resounding gong. She pricked her ears, feeling the weight of expectation. From this moment, he declared, 3 miracles are on the brink of manifestation. Sarah felt electricity surge through her limbs. The congregation shifted, leaning in, eager for every syllable. Would one of those miracles be hers? Her heart raced as she ventured deeper into faith, pushing against doubt and fear. First, there are those who have long mourned loss. Comfort is coming. Healing will pour over you like a balm. The pastor's gaze pierced through the crowd, almost as if he were speaking directly to Sarah. His words ignited a fragile hope within her, one she didn't know could still exist. Could her grief, the aching heart she had carried, finally find solace? Secondly, chains of addiction and despair are breaking tonight. We declare freedom. Gasps erupted around her, echoing souls filled with longing. The thought of chains breaking, yes, she knew those chains personally. They had once wrapped around her heart, suffocating her dreams. But could she truly be free? And lastly, he continued, for the mothers and fathers in this place, prodigal sons and daughters are coming home. At that moment, sobs turned to shouts of joy. Families embraced, tears of reconciliation sprinkled like confetti over the congregation. Sarah's heart clenched tightly. This was what hope felt like. She wanted to be a part of it, to be a part of the miracle. The pastor then invited anyone seeking prayer to step forward. Anxiety surged through Sarah, yet an inexplicable urge pulled her toward the altar. Each step felt heavy yet filled with promise, as if the ground itself was cheering her on. As she approached the front, immeasurable love surrounded her. Could she allow herself to be found? To embrace the depth of faith that was emerging within her? With each moment, she felt the thrill of possibility course through her veins. Would she lay down her burdens? Was she ready to accept the miracle that felt both distant and near? Sarah's heart whispered, yes. But what awaited her on this sacred journey? The tapestry of God's plan was just beginning to unfold. As Sarah knelt at the altar, the world around her faded into a soft blur. All that remained was the sound of her heart and the gentle whispers surrounding her. She could feel the warmth of prayers rising like incense, reaching up to the heavens. It was as if she stood at the edge of a vast, beautiful ocean of faith, ready to plunge in and let it envelop her. The pastor moved closer, a presence of calm amidst the fervor. He placed his hands on Sarah's shoulder, a gesture of deep connection and love. God sees you, Sarah, he said softly, each word wrapping around her like a warm embrace. He knows your struggles, your pain. Trust now, for you are not alone. A tear slipped down Sarah's cheek as she felt the weight of those words sink in. Could she really trust like this? It was as if something within her was shaken awake, dormant faith beginning to unfurl. The palpable sense of hope in the air ignited her spirit, and she found herself nodding, though unsure of what lay ahead. Let go of your past, let go of your fears, the pastor continued, his voice steady and reassuring. Embrace the healing that is being offered. Closing her eyes, Sarah took a deep breath, drawing in the aroma of that sacred space, a blend of candle wax, fresh flowers, and an underlying sweetness that felt almost divine. She began to envision the heaviness that had plagued her for so long. Those memories, once so vivid, began to dissolve as hope surged within. Jesus, I surrender all of it to you, she whispered through choked breaths. I hand it over. With each plea, she felt chains give way. The years of worry, shame, and sorrow floated like leaves carried away by a gentle stream. Around her, the congregation was alive with fervent prayer. The sound rose and fell like the waves of the ocean, swells of encouragement lifting her spirit higher. Sarah could hear snippets of encouragement from those nearby. You are free. Claim your healing. Joy is yours. In that holy moment, she experienced an overwhelming wave of love. It poured over her, washing away years of uncertainty. Bright flashes of light danced behind her closed eyelids, stirring something sacred within her heart. God's presence wasn't just in the words of the pastor, it was in the unity of souls begging for deliverance. Stand in faith, Sarah. The pastor urged once more, his voice a beacon of hope. Receive what is yours. As she opened her eyes, Sarah felt a lightness, as if she had shed a heavy cloak. The miracle she sought was not merely for herself, but for every life intertwined with hers. Each miracle was a thread woven into the grand tapestry of faith and transformation. An energy sparked around her as others stepped forward, some crying, others laughing, all united in a shared journey toward healing and restoration. Sarah realized she was not just a receiver, she was now an active participant in God's story. Each face around her radiated something divine, an echo of grace that felt familiar. In this community, pain was temporary, but joy was eternal. As she gazed at the hearts around her, decisions echoed in her spirit. She needed to be a beacon of light for others, just as they were for her. The pastor raised his hands high. As we close, I believe miracles are being sealed in your hearts. Embrace your new beginnings. Sarah felt her heart leap. Was her moment of transformation truly here? Was she ready to step boldly into the life God had crafted for her? As the worship began again, a sense of anticipation danced in the air. She looked ahead, ready to follow the path that stretched before her with faith brimming in her chest. What might happen next as she stepped out into a new reality? What amazing doors awaited her? She felt her heart race, ready to discover the fullness of God's plan for her life. As the final notes of worship lingered in the air like an embrace, Sarah's heart continued to swell with unshakable hope. The church, a house alive with joy and gratitude, felt more than just bricks and mortar. It was a family, a sanctuary of souls lighting one another's paths. She stepped away from the altar, but a thread of divine energy remained woven into her spirit. Each footfall felt lighter, every breath a promise of something greater. As she moved among familiar faces, she saw the smiles worn by fellow believers, the tears of joy shimmering in their eyes, each echoing her own experience. It was all a reminder that together, they were part of a divine narrative unfolding in real time. Sarah. A voice broke through the joyful buzz, familiar and warm. It was her friend Emily, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Did you feel that? It was like heaven touched us. What are you going to do next? The question hung in the air as both exhilarating and daunting. Sarah hadn't thought that far. Could she really step into this new chapter? The truth clutched her heart tightly, the weight of her past still loomed somewhere within. Yet, as she looked around at the faces illuminated by hope, a fire ignited within her. I'm going to share this love, she replied, surprising even herself with the conviction lacing her words. It's too beautiful to keep to myself. Emily's face broke into a beaming smile. Yes. You've got to let it shine. We all do. Sarah nodded, feeling a sense of purpose envelop her. What if her journey of healing wasn't just about her? What if it was about reaching out to others fighting their own battles? The possibilities were endless, a sea of grace waiting to be explored. Before she could delve into those thoughts, the pastor stepped beside them, his presence calming. Sarah, God is preparing you for something glorious. Are you willing to be his vessel? The moment felt sacred, the air charged with possibility. She hesitated but then remembered the power she had just tapped into. It was a well of strength drawn from love and faith. A smile broke across her face, one of bravery and openness. I'm ready. Then let us pray together. He said, reaching out for her hand along with Emily's. Their fingers entwined, a divine connection made tangible. The pastor's voice rose up in prayer, each word painting the vision of unimagined adventures ahead. Lord, use Sarah to bless the broken-hearted. Release her into a season of miracles. As he prayed, a vision began to unfold in Sarah's mind. She saw herself standing before various groups of people, sharing stories of hope, extending hands of comfort, and inviting others into the joy she felt now. It was electrifying, overwhelming, and utterly exhilarating. When the pastor finished his prayer, her heart was racing. I can see it. She exclaimed, her pulse quickening with every word. I'll start with an outreach program right here. We can help those who are lost, just like I was. Emily squeezed her hand. That's amazing, Sarah. We'll do this together, and so many will find hope through your story. Just then, another voice chimed in from behind. It was Mr. Thomas, an elder in the church known for his wisdom and heart for community. What's this I hear? A new initiative to spread the love of Christ? I'd like to be involved as well. The simple act of support sent joy cascading through Sarah. She felt it, the undeniable truth that God was aligning people along her path. A rush of warmth enveloped Sarah, and a fleeting thought darted through her mind. But what lay ahead was still a mystery, wrapped in divine fog. She hadn't imagined how quickly everything would fall into place. With determination surging in her chest, Sarah looked around at the faces of those committed beside her. What adventures were waiting on the horizon? And what miracles might unfold as she stepped boldly into this new chapter of her life, embracing the unknown? As prayers of unity and excitement lifted into the air, a singular question flickered through her heart, igniting fresh anticipation. What may God do if she surrendered fully, and trusted him to lead? With the sun setting beyond the stained glass, casting a kaleidoscope of colors throughout the church, Sarah felt a deep sense of purpose. She and her newfound allies stood enveloped in a warm glow, each realizing the task ahead wasn't a solitary journey, it was a collective expedition bathed in divine light. Tonight's just the beginning, Emily declared, her excitement palpable. We should gather everyone who feels called to help. Mr. Thomas nodded. We'll have our first meeting this week. Together, we'll map out our outreach initiative. I envision small groups, sharing their stories just like we did today. Sarah's heart fluttered at the thought. The weight of uncertainty still lingered, but she was ready to confront it. God had already set wheels in motion, now it was time to be bold. In the following days, word spread through the congregation like wildfire. Each person brought their own gifts. Some were artists, some skilled in hospitality, others had hearts for counseling. Each shared the desire to serve, to reach out, to be a lighthouse for those wandering in darkness. At their first meeting, Sarah stood before the gathering. We are here to be God's hands and feet, she began, her voice steady despite the buzz of nerves. Each story we share, each small act we perform matters. Together, we can cultivate hope. As she spoke, she noticed nods of agreement, eyes bright with anticipation. They were a melting pot of dreams, each individual ready to help those in need. Joy surged within Sarah, mingled with an electric current of determination. Let's plan a gathering in the park next month. Emily proposed, her enthusiasm sparking additional ideas. We can offer food, games, and share our stories. A ripple of excitement spread through the room. Plans formed quickly, and soon Sarah felt that same divine energy humming around her, wrapping them in purpose. Days turned into weeks, and as the date drew near, the preparations grew more vibrant, each detail a stitch in a rich tapestry woven with love. Flyers were posted, food was gathered, and hearts were encouraged. But deep down, Sarah felt the tiniest flicker of fear. What if no one showed? What if the past shadows returned, haunting her efforts? Instead of relenting to doubt, she turned her gaze upwards. Lord, give me strength, she whispered in a quiet moment of communion. I trust in your plan. Finally, the day arrived. The park blossomed under the blue sky, laughter and music floated on the breeze as Sarah and the others set up stations filled with games, food, and tables adorned with encouraging words. Each item was selected carefully with love, every detail a testament to their mission. As they prepared, Sarah kept an eye on the entrance, her heart racing with hope and a hint of anxiety. She caught her breath, recalling the barrier she had to break both within her and outside. And then, she saw them. A trickle at first, but then a growing number of people appeared, drawn to the warmth of community and fellowship. Her heart soared. These were souls seeking comfort, perhaps just as she had once been. People embraced the joy and connected through laughter. Stories were shared, prayers exchanged, and tears flowed, tears of healing, tears of joy. Sarah moved among them, witnessing lives touched and hearts mended. At the height of the gathering, she found a moment to catch her breath and take it all in. It was beautiful chaos, a symphony of hope that resounded deep in her spirit. Sarah! A voice called out. It was an elderly man sitting alone on a bench, his eyes shimmering with unmet longing. Could you come share your story? It brings me hope. I feel I need it today. Her heart skipped a beat. His request echoed a truth she had held close. What might her story ignite in others? With each loving step, she walked towards him, feeling the light of God's presence guiding her. As she began to speak, she felt a peace wash over her. What she had feared transformed into a moment of sacred connection. Little did she know, this singular moment was the threshold to a larger revelation waiting to unfold. What divine interventions awaited as she continued down this path. The gathering was magic. The sun began to dip low, casting a golden glow over the park as laughter and joy overflowed. Sarah stood amidst it all, her heart swelling. Each face around her was lit with hope, mirroring her own transformation. Could it truly be that lives were turning toward the light of love? Sarah gently cleared her throat as she stepped onto a makeshift platform. I want to share my story, she began, her voice trembling, but unwavering. She saw all those familiar faces, encouraging her with warm smiles. I was once bound by doubt and fear, imprisoned by my own uncertainty. But through a moment of divine awakening, I found faith. I found hope that ignites transformation even in the darkest corners. Each word became an echo of her struggles, carrying the weight of truth and vulnerability. There was a time when I believed I was beyond help, she continued. When I thought my story was over. But God had a plan. He lifted me, placing this burning desire in my heart to help others feel that same light. She scanned the crowd, catching the eye of the elderly man. His tears glistened as he nodded, a flicker of understanding igniting between them. Her heart raced as the voice inside her grew louder. Your burdens matter. Your pain matters. But remember, you are not alone. We are here together to embrace the miracle of His love. At that moment, an electric energy coursed through the air, filling the park with awareness of divine presence. Cheers erupted, resonating into the evening sky like a heavenly orchestra. The community rallied around her, lifting their own stories and burdens as the chorus of faith grew louder. They shared testimonies of hope, broken chains, and newfound freedom. Each story was like a thread woven into their collective tapestry. Then the pastor emerged from the crowd, his presence magnifying the energy in the air. In this very moment, he proclaimed, God is moving. You are not just witnesses, but agents of change. You are carriers of His light. The crowd erupted in applause, and Sarah felt enlivened. As the day turned to dusk, a gentle breeze swept through the park, wrapping around them like a warm embrace. Sarah surveyed the gathering, a family brought together in purpose and unity. Each person stood as a testament to the power of faith facing struggles, but choosing to believe in miracles. In that moment, she saw her purpose clearly. Let us continue this journey. She called out, feeling the urgency within her spirit. Let us keep our community alive with stories of hope. We can change lives, just as ours have been changed. Others began to share their ideas, workshops, gatherings, outreach programs. Each thought poured forth like a refreshing stream, quenching the thirst for purpose and connection. Sarah's heart swelled. This wasn't just an event, it was a movement. Her mind drifted back to her son, her husband, the challenges they faced. Locking eyes with her family across the park, she saw pride reflected back at her. And in that moment, doubt fell away like autumn leaves with excitement radiating through her. Sarah declared, this is the moment we demonstrate what it means to live in the light. We will build a community where no one walks alone. The thunderous applause grew, igniting joy around them. Sarah stepped down, her heart racing, embraced by the warmth of connection, love, and a resolute spirit. Each embrace, each smile, reaffirmed that they were bound not just by shared hardships but by collective hope, a tapestry forged by faith and devotion. I believe this is just the beginning, she thought, her spirit soaring. Their stories would intertwine into something greater. As the congregation began to disperse, Sarah remained, filled with gratitude and purpose, facing a future that gleamed with divine possibilities. She felt as though she was walking a path paved with miracles, prepared for the unfolding chapters that awaited her. The air resonated with promises yet to be fulfilled, with laughter and love leading the way. And as Sarah breathed in the crisp evening air, she whispered a silent prayer of thanks for the journey that had brought them here, ready to embrace whatever miracles God had in store. This is the moment when our roads converge. Join her journey of faith, transformation, and divine miracles. Now, beloved friends, you need to subscribe immediately to stay connected with these faith stories, miracles, and transformations that happen right before our eyes. Leave a like now. Your support fuels the algorithm, ensuring that others find this light too. Comment below and share your reactions, your testimonies of God's goodness, or how this story has touched your heart. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness these incredible manifestations. Don't wait even one more second. Only true servants of God understand the importance of supporting this channel through these actions. Let us spread His love together.